G'day there guys, my name's Markee, and welcome back to another episode of Best of Redditor Updates. With that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, let's get into it. Posted by user What the Hell Instagram, and it's titled, I, 23 male, found my girlfriend's 23 female fake Instagram account where she follows my exes, past flings, hookups, etc. Basically what the title says. The Instagram contains several photos of someone that I've never seen before and has been around since May. For context, we've been together for 2.5 years, living together for 1. We live closer to her hometown, with mine approximately 6 hours away, so she hasn't really gotten the chance to know many people from where I'm from, except my family and closest friends. I guess I'm just a little weirded out, and I'm not sure if I should bring it up. Honestly, I'm generally the jealous one in the relationship, and we've had many talks about my not focusing on her exes or getting too mad if someone hits on her. In the comments, OK Cellphone says, I'm a really jealous person, the type who occasionally looked at my ex's email, and find this extremely disturbing. Yes, talk to her. It'll only get worse from here. Minor question, have you done anything to break her trust that perhaps she's responding to? Just curious. This is weird AF though. OP replies, yes, maybe. Nothing too severe, but it could contribute. This summer we went through a bit of a rough patch, related to my depression, and she was quite understanding for the most part, but definitely felt the lack of attention and affection. One night I was visiting home and out drinking with the guys, forgot to respond to one of her messages. Later, while I was letting her check my phone for something, she accidentally saw that I'd been chatting away with a few others, including girls who I had a history with, on that night, because they found out I was in town. She only seemed a little bit irked by this, because I hadn't responded to her, but did to them, and also because we have a policy of letting each other know when individuals from our past contact us, and I forgot due to being drunk, but didn't seem too jealous. As I type this out though, I can see why it might have sparked her curiosity, especially given our rough patch and my depression making me less affectionate and attentive for a few months. User Books Coffee and Booze says, not gonna lie, I've considered doing this before. The only reason I haven't is because it would be awkward and if I got caught. I'm not a crazy girlfriend though, in that I don't care if he talks to other women, I don't care if he has female friends that he hangs out with alone, can't imagine him ever cheating, etc. But I am crazy nosy, and at least one of his exes is batshit. So it may be less she's psycho, and more just likes to see what they are up to. But talk to her about it if you're worried. OP replies, this is actually good to hear. I confided in one of my friends about this, and she actually told me that it's pretty common to try to snoop on private profiles. She said a few of her friends have done this, and only snooped once, then deleted it. When I look at the photos, they were all posted shortly after the creation of the profile, and they were likely just enough to make it believable, so she might not even be using it still, but just didn't delete it. And now on to the update. So I decided to try to talk to my girlfriend casually about the account. I told her that when she was letting me use her phone, I logged her out of Instagram and was going to log into mine so that I could post a photo directly from her phone and saw the other account as an option. I noticed that account. She looked horrified at first, but then without any prompting at all, she confessed that she had a super insecure day after exactly the incident that I was discussing with the other commenters here. So thank you very much for making me introspect, Reddit. She ranted to her best friend about how she was feeling, and the two of them made the account. They crept the accounts that accepted the follow requests. Her friend helped her boost her ego a bit with some girl talk, and she completely forgot about it. She said that she was having a really hard time when I was depressed, but felt like she couldn't complain about it because my pain was worse, so she just sort of let a whole bunch get to her over time. She told me that she felt her poor handling of certain things this summer, her words, and the massive insecurity she felt was an indicator that she probably needed to talk to someone and work through some things. And she's actually been seeing a therapist every other week or so for the past few months. This wasn't just due to the summer, as she felt that she's needed to do this for a while. It was just sort of what motivated her. This shocked me, and she apologized for not telling me. She says that she felt like she couldn't complain to me about her mental health when she knew that I was going through so much, And then when I started to get better, she didn't know how to randomly bring it up since some time had passed. I had no idea how hard my depression was on her. I feel so selfish that I didn't even notice, but she says that she completely understands, and she knows how preoccupying depression can be. All in all, she apologized profusely for the account, deleted it in front of me, and we promised to try to get back to being the good communicators that we were before my depression hit. Lovely stuff, OP. I'm gonna say no assholes here for this situation. Just seems like she felt neglected during a rough patch in the relationship. She didn't want to burden you while you were depressed as well. So she decided to handle that insecurity with her friends in a pretty messy but understandable way. I don't think it's a great look creating that fake account to snoop, but it's good that she owned up to it immediately and then deleted it without any Davo, none of that bullshit that we usually see. And that's not to say that you didn't have a role in the tension that was caused either. I mean, messaging old flings while ignoring her and not, flagging those conversations, that probably triggered some insecurity in her. I don't think you're an asshole for that, but I think it's something to be aware of. I think the healthy part of all of this here is how you both have responded to this situation. You decided to have an honest conversation with each other, she got therapy, and both of you are acknowledging how this rough patch affected your relationship. Thank you for the story, thank you for the update. Our next post is by user Sufficient Way, and it's titled, "Am I the asshole here for telling my therapist something bad about my mum? Hey Reddit, I have mixed feelings concerning something that happened today, and I need to know what I should do. Okay, so my mum, 46 female, and me, 16 female, go to therapy together. On Wednesday, I forgot to take my ADHD meds, and I was really hungry. I texted my mum to bring me some food before lunch, and she did. She dropped it off with a note and $20 to pay for my school dance ticket. The note was a reminder that I had therapy today and to come to the front of the school at 2:30. My appointment is at 3. I ate my lunch, bought my ticket, and it was my last class, 2 hours later. I was in my math class when I glanced at the clock and saw that it was 2:36. I explained my situation to the teacher, and even without a pass, she let me go. I packed up my stuff and made my way to the front of the school. I was going slow because frankly I didn't want to go to therapy today. This was my first mistake. As I approached my mum's car from the school, nothing seemed amiss. I opened the door and was struggling to get my backpack in the front seat. I dropped my phone and bent down to pick it up when my mum snapped at me. She was angry that I had ignored her texts and calls. It's our state law, no phones in school, and how I'd taken my sweet time walking out to the car. As usual, she gave me an angry, long lecture. I don't remember exactly, but this was the bullet points. We are now going to be late. You can't keep on thinking the world will accommodate for you. Your ADHD is not an excuse. You're too old to lose track of time. I literally sent you an in-person note. You should have remembered. I was crying the whole time driving to therapy, and when we arrived, I tried my best to suck it up. I really did, but unlike other times, I couldn't. I think I could if I had had 15 minutes to calm myself down, but at this moment, I could only wipe my tears away, and digging my nails into my palms and fingers didn't even work this time. Oh, and by the way, we ended up being 5 minutes late to my appointment. Anyway, my therapist obviously noticed I was crying and tactfully decided to unpack that. My mum usually sits in on my sessions, but I asked her to leave, and she did with no fuss. Anyway, my therapist asked why I was crying, and I told her the whole story. She validated my feelings by saying stuff like, "That sounds hard. Does this happen often? How do you think your mum's feeling, etc." I opened up and recorded some other incidents. I'm not going into detail here, but here is a summary. The cookie incident. I made cookies for an event, and feeling overwhelmed, I snapped at my brother and said he couldn't have one before dinner. He was the youngest child when winning to my mum, and she got really mad at me for quote-unquote parenting her kid. About a week later, my dad bought some crumble cookies, and me and my sibs started to dig in. My mum came down and got mad when we were eating before dinner. My sister daringly pointed out that it was hypocritical of her to get mad at our family when she made a big deal out of the opposite a week ago. I admire my sister's bravery at this moment. My mum storms upstairs and sulks. Dinner that night was quite awkward. Now, the incident that happened last summer, 4 months ago. We went to a backyard summer party. Me and my brother were the only kids there, so we played tag together. I was faster than him, and he wanted to add a cooldown on tags. I did not want the same because it was working out great for me being faster than him. We eventually left and I got shotgun. My brother went to go whine and lied to my mum about what I did. As we drove home, my mum took out her frustration on me in the front seat. I had had enough and finally started arguing back, which was a big mistake. She delivered what I think was her final line. "If you're going to act like a child, I'm going to treat you like one." My mum slapped my face hard. My nose started bleeding, and he grabbed my nose to stop bleeding, but she was pinching it hard. I said something like this, "How do you treat children?" Anyway, I told my therapist, and she had a mandatory report. She sent me out to go talk to my mum. She said she wouldn't tell her about what I said, but I guess she did. My mum was angry and crying on the way home. She said stuff like, "I hope this is what you wanted. You know I'll be taken away, right? I can't believe you did this to get back at me." She took my school dance ticket and ripped it up and threw it out the window. Then she dumped my backpack out on our driveway and told me to clean up my mess. I spent the rest of the day trying to avoid my mum. She went back to my brother somewhere, and I told my dad everything when he came home. I was a crying, puffy-eyed mess. I went to my friends to watch a movie, and that's where I'm writing this from. I really need to know how badly I messed up. Please help. In the comments, is the therapist for you or for your mother? Put yourself first for once in your life. I mean it. OP replies, "The therapist was supposed to help me and my mum communicate, although I doubt she will ever take me back." OP, go talk to a trusted teacher/adult at a school about your ticket. I'm sure a new one can be issued for you. And OP replies, "Even if I got one of the only 500 tickets available, I doubt my mum will let me go. I know what I'm planning to do is bad, but if it allows me to go, I'll tell her. If I can't go, I'll tell my date exactly why, so that might be leverage. But I don't know if I'll be brave enough for that." Not the asshole. Your mum is totally in the wrong here. If she hadn't assaulted you, there would be nothing to report in the first place. I really hope your dad has your back here. He needs to protect you from her. OP says, "He's tried his best, and I think today will be the test. I'll update you guys with how he responds. Let's just say I can't wait to turn 18. And now onto the update, titled, "CPS came to my school." Okay, it's the next day, and my mum refused to drive me to school, so I walked. Which is not a big deal, and I went through school in a kind of detached state. My friends probably noted that something was wrong, but they didn't ask. Anyway, I was in my bio class doing homework when a vice principal pulled me out of class. While we were in the hallway, he said a CPS worker from the state was there, along with a police officer. He said I wasn't in trouble. He asked if he could sit in on our conversation, and I said yes. He brought me into a quiet room with said officer and CPS lady, and they asked me a lot of questions. I'll do my best to recount them. Who do you live with? Do you know why you're here? Was the incident a standalone? Do you feel safe? How are things at home? What are your parents' names? Just to name a few. To sum it up, I cried a bit. I asked what was going to happen. They said they had no intention of removing me or taking my mum away. I didn't mention what had happened after my appointment. Ripping the ticket, dumping my backpack, just in case my mum was notified. Anyway, I had an awkward convo with my school counselor trying to comfort me. It wasn't working. I think my situation was above her pay grade. I went back to class, and I told my friend that I was just moving my schedule around. I don't think she believed me. We played Uno. When school got out, I was walking home, also along the road that my mum usually picks me up, and I saw her car. I was scared because when she's mad, she never picks me up or drives me where I need to go. She started with a half apology. She said something like, "I'm sorry I hit you, But if we're going to work through this, you need to tell me why you did this to me." I didn't respond. I was scared to see if I told her my truth and she didn't like it, or if it wasn't good enough, where would I be? She kept on saying CPS was coming and that it was so serious my dad was calling lawyers. Then I noticed we weren't going home. She pulled over in a parking lot and lectured me for an hour. She said that I really messed things up and she wasn't willing to be a mother to me anymore. In my defense, I told her that CPS had come and it didn't seem that bad. She blew up at me for ratting her out again and that she will never help me in school again because everyone knows what she did. She called my dad and told him that she can't do this anymore and that we need to send her away. I was silently crying throughout all of this. Anyway, she drove me home and went upstairs. I'm pretty sure I'll update again because I know that she's not done yet. I have dyslexia, so I'm sorry if the posts aren't perfect. And now for the final update, titled, "Am I the asshole here for being happy to see my dad cry?" First, I want to thank all of you for your support throughout the hardest week of my life. You really are my internet gems. A few things to clear up. My dad is not the bad guy here. He's tried his best to protect us without damaging our image of my mother. And he's really stepped up. Now for the update. I wasn't able to update you immediately because my phone was taken away as punishment. The same day my mum took me to the parking lot to lecture me was the day. My dad stepped up later that night after my dad got my side of the story, and he confronted my mum and helped her see what she's really done. That was the first time in my life that I've ever seen my father cry. My mum said she took back everything she said. Whatever that means, I don't even know. The damage is for sure still there. I'm allowed to go to the winter formal, and all of my privileges have been restored. However, things are certainly never going to be back to normal, whatever normal I think I was living in. I never want to live that again. I have 2 more years before I leave for college, and I just have to stick it out until I can leave. I've been trying to bond more with my father. I don't really know how to end this update, but thank you for helping me see my mum for who she really is. Yeah, not the arsehole OP. You didn't do anything wrong in this. You told the truth in therapy after being hit and repeatedly yelled at. There's no world where that was you getting your mum in trouble. You were just speaking honestly about what was happening to you. The therapists are mandatory reporters for a reason. If physical abuse is mentioned to them, they legally have to report that. The consequences for those actions are on the adult who chose to hit their child. This is not you getting her in trouble. And your mum's reaction to all of this is very much telling, because she doesn't want to focus on how she hurt you. She only focused on how this affected her. She took your ticket, she dumped your bag, and she blamed you for getting CPS involved. That only proves why you needed this support in the first place. You did nothing wrong, you didn't betray her, you asked for help in a space meant to keep you safe. The adults around you are responsible for their own behavior. Your job is just to be honest about what you're going through. Why else would you be going to therapy? Thank you for the story, and thank you for the update. Our next post is by user PleasantMission63, and it's titled, "Am I overreacting for calling off my engagement after my fiancé admitted that his family secretly tested me to see if I was a gold digger? I, 24 female, have been with my fiancé, 27 male, for almost 4 years. He has a really well-paying job in tech, and I make pretty average money. We've always split things fair, and I've never asked him for expensive stuff or trips or anything. I honestly thought that money was a non-issue for us. I never was interested in him for his money anyways. We genuinely clicked so well, and I loved his personality. We are into the same nerdy things, and his family seemed to really like me. I never thought that I would have to worry about our relationship going south until now. A few days ago, my fiancé sat me down and said that he had something he wanted to tell me, and he was smiling like it was good news. He basically told me that his family has been secretly testing me for the last 11 months to make sure that I wasn't a gold digger. He said they were worried that I only liked him for his income and wanted proof before we got married. The test was that they all made it seem like he was struggling financially and might lose his job. His mum would casually bring up layoffs. His dad talked about how unstable tech is, And slowly, it turned into, he might actually lose his job, and you guys might have to really downsize. At one point, his mum even told me that I should be prepared to financially help him if it came to that. I never wanted to bring up the possibility of a layoff for him because I didn't want to stress him out. I wanted to be prepared to support him if needed. So I started budgeting more, saving money, cutting back on random spending, skipping stuff I wanted, and just generally trying to prepare for the worst. I constantly reassured my fiancé. I encouraged him, told him that we would be fine, that I didn't care about money, that I just wanted us. But this whole thing was fake. His job was never in danger, his income never changed, there were no layoffs. His family literally planned this whole thing together. They kept it going for almost a year. Subtle comments made in passing to manipulate me and test me. Apparently, this all started because his older brother went through a really messy divorce. His brother now pays a ton in child support, and his ex-wife got a lot of money in the divorce, and his family fully blames her and thinks that she was a gold digger. So now they're super paranoid about any woman who dates one of their sons. But the thing is, I've actually met his brother's ex-wife before. She was dropping off the kids at a family night, and she seemed really nice and normal. I never once got gold digger vibes from her, and honestly, it makes me uncomfortable how much they demonize her. My fiancé said that his parents finally told him that I passed, and that they felt comfortable with him marrying me now. He said he wanted to tell me because he thought that I'd be relieved to know that he isn't actually struggling financially, and that it shows how much the family cares about protecting him. Then he tells me that to celebrate, he upgraded our honeymoon to a nice luxury resort in Hawaii. I mentioned this resort when initially honeymoon planning, but deemed it too expensive, so I settled for a more modest option. But I feel weird about it. I don't want to be rewarded for being manipulated really well. Like, good job. We tricked you and you were so gullible that you believed it. Here's a nicer vacation. I told him that I feel manipulated, embarrassed, and honestly humiliated that his whole family was watching my reactions and judging my character behind my back for almost a year. He said I'm looking at it wrong, and that I proved I'm not with him for his money, and that this should make me feel more secure in our relationship. I wish I could ask my family what they thought, but unfortunately my mum passed away 2 years ago, and I don't have a relationship with my father. I'm feeling sad and lost because I don't have a reliable second opinion to lean on. His family had become my family. That's what makes this even harder. His family is acting like this is totally normal and that I should be proud of myself. His mum literally said, most girls wouldn't have handled that so gracefully. I told him that I need space and I'm seriously considering calling off the engagement, but I honestly don't know what to do. I love him, and this is so out of left field. Now everyone is acting like I'm blowing this out of proportion and being dramatic. Part of me wonders if I am, but another part of me feels like my trust is completely broken. Am I overreacting? I'm not sure if tests like this are normal. I feel weird about it. I don't know. Please help. Edits. A couple of people are asking why he didn't just ask for a prenup. We actually did discuss this before we got engaged, and I told him that I would be open to a prenup. I brought this up when he confessed, and he said that he wasn't necessarily worried about divorce. The whole thing was about testing my character and making sure that I was a morally good person before he married me. It doesn't make much sense to me and feels like his whole family went out of their way to do some stupid morality test. I've never even given the indication that I'm shallow, so it really hurts. I just think that they're suspicious of any outsiders who come into their family. Also, I misspoke when I said the Hawaii resort was all-inclusive. I guess I've used that word interchangeably for describing a really nice resort. In the comments, DC Mummy 33 says, hard to tell if this is ChatGPT bait or not. You'd think in real life they would have just asked you to do a prenup. If this is real, follow your gut. OP replies, the thing is, we have literally discussed a prenup and I've agreed to it. I asked about this when he confessed, and he said the testing was to make sure that I'm a morally good person and valued him outside of his money, and that he wasn't afraid of divorce necessarily. I feel hurt that he would even question my morality in the first place. I've never even given the impression that I'm shallow. It all feels off to me. Quote, plus typically the groom's family pays for the honeymoon, so I didn't know they were offended by that. This is a thing in 2026? Has that ever been the case? Regardless, much like bride's family pays for the wedding, it's no longer the case for much of society. OP replies, I guess you're right. My fiancé and I have been putting aside money to pay for the wedding ourselves. My family isn't in the picture, so we never expected financial help from that end. Maybe it's outdated for me to make that assumption. I now feel embarrassed about that comment. I still don't think it justifies the testing, though. And now, on to the update. I'm really sorry, I've never posted on Reddit before. I've always just lurked, never posted. I wasn't sure how I'm supposed to give an update. I replied to a comment, but didn't know if that was correct, so here is the update here as well. Thank you for all of your comments. It means a lot to have so much support and validation. I knew right away, deep down, that this was wrong, but I needed validation, as bad as that sounds. I don't have close family or many friends, so hearing that my feelings are normal makes me feel less alone. This happened a couple of days ago. I'm still staying with my fiancé right now, but things are tense, and I feel anxious pretty much all the time. He knows I'm upset and knows I need space, so he hasn't tried to talk about it since. He knows I'm considering calling off the engagement, which is why I think he's been so sensitive around me the last few days. He hasn't been acting like it's a positive thing anymore, and seems pretty remorseful since I told him how much it hurt me. This morning, I asked him if he knew about it the whole time, and he told me that his parents started making the comments without his knowledge, and after he overheard a comment they made to me while over at his parents' house, he asked them privately why they said that, and they explained that they were testing me. He decided to let them continue just to see what I would do. From past interactions with his parents, I also know that he has a hard time standing up to them or disagreeing with them, so it honestly makes sense that he didn't call them out and just started going along with it. They told him that they were offended when I suggested an expensive resort for the honeymoon and made a comment insinuating that his parents would be paying for it. They just got it in their head that I just expected them to shoulder the costs of an expensive resort without question, which isn't true. I happily accepted a more modest option when they suggested it because I don't want to seem pushy or entitled. Plus, typically the groom's family pays for the honeymoon, so I didn't know that they were offended by that. Maybe I really did come off as entitled, but that was honestly never my intention. Regardless, I don't think that justifies testing me like this. He wasn't the mastermind, but he never stopped them and didn't see why it was wrong or manipulative until I told him how upset I was. A part of me wonders if he was manipulated by his parents to think this was acceptable. I'm torn between calling it off or having a conversation with him and asking him to go to couples counseling, plus set serious boundaries with his parents. I also see some suggestions recommending that I talk to his brother's ex-wife. I think that's a good idea, but I'm honestly really nervous about it. I don't have her number, but I follow her on Instagram, so I'm considering DMing her and asking to call her. I'm pretty overwhelmed with the attention this post is getting, but I'm super appreciative of everyone's support and love. I think I've realized that I have a people-pleasing tendency and a need to keep the peace, but I'm trying to force myself to break out of that. It's all just really scary, and I feel really lonely. My natural inclination is to forgive and forget so that I can still have a family. I know that's not the best idea, and I know change needs to happen. I'm still figuring out where to go from here. And now onto the latest update. Well, my fiancé found this post. Honestly, I feel pretty stupid for thinking that he wouldn't find it. I didn't expect this post to get as much attention as it did, so thank you all for that, but I was extremely detailed, which was kinda dumb. He saw the post and immediately clocked that I wrote it. He came to me yesterday with the post, and I was super afraid he would be angry, but he was actually very understanding. He said reading the comments was super eye-opening to him on just how messed up this situation was. He feels bad that he ever even tried to spin this in a positive light. We had a pretty deep conversation, and he came to realize that he had been manipulated very heavily by his parents and family. When his parents justify something, even if it's bad, His brain will immediately try to justify it too, because differing opinions were not allowed in his household growing up. This whole situation has started the realization for him that he grew up in a manipulative and emotionally abusive household, but was never given the space to realize it because they had an extreme us versus them mentality. So even when an extremely normal and well-intentioned person comes into the family, aka me and his brother's ex, they will do anything they can to invalidate their character because they're uncomfortable with outsiders. I've learned a lot about myself through this situation as well. First of all, I'm emotionally vulnerable and need therapy bad. My need to belong has caused me to stay in situations that are unhealthy for me just because I'm so desperate for a family. I know that's bad, and I know it will be hard, but I want to change. With that being said, even though my fiancé was very remorseful and apologetic, I told him that I want to call off our wedding and take a break from our relationship. We both have issues that we need to work on by ourselves before we consider joining in marriage. I want to figure out who I am without someone to lean on, as painful as that may be. And he needs to seriously evaluate his relationship with his family and how they have affected him. I told him that if in the future we find ourselves emotionally healthy and the timing works out, maybe we can be together again. But for right now, that's not the case, so we need to go our separate ways. We do still live together, and I don't exactly have anywhere to go, so my fiancé said that he will move out and try to find other living arrangements. He will pay his portion of the lease until I find another roommate. Again, thank you all for your comments and support. They mean a lot to me.